Okay, let's be real for a second. You know you're a talented designer, right? You've got the skills. But then you hear those dreaded words. Can you send me your portfolio? And, that sinking feeling in your gut. It's the worst. Well, we're going to dive right into that fear today, and honestly, we're going to tear it apart.
Sound familiar? Yeah, I thought so. If that little voice in your head has ever whispered this to you, you're in good company. I mean, so many brilliant designers get stuck right here. But here's the thing. What if I told you that entire thought, that whole premise, is just plain wrong?
Okay, so here's the big secret, the thing most people miss. Clients aren't actually paying for your portfolio. They're not buying a long list of your past projects. What they're really buying is certainty. They're paying for the confidence, the absolute certainty that you can solve their problem. And in this little explainer, we're going to break down exactly how you can sell that feeling, even if your portfolio feels a little, well, empty.
All right, first things first, we have to completely redefine how you're thinking about your own value. This is a huge mindset shift, so let's get into it.
Look, stop trying to go head-to-head with designers who've been in the game for 10+ years. You just can't win that fight, so don't even step in the ring. Instead, I want you to own your beginner status. Like, really own it. Because a lot of clients, they're not looking for some high-priced, big-shot expert. They want someone who's hungry, who's flexible, and yeah, who's more affordable. Your lack of experience, it's not a weakness, it's a feature. It's your secret weapon.
And here's another thing you've got to get. Your first few clients, they're not going to be design critics from some fancy magazine. They care way more about being heard and respected. Seriously, a beginner who replies to an email in an hour is 1,000,000 times more valuable to them than some seasoned pro who just ghosts them for a week. Just remember this. In the beginning, great communication builds trust way faster than a pixel-perfect design ever will.
So if you don't have this massive gallery of finished work, what do you sell? You sell your process. Your process becomes the product. Think about it. A client's biggest nightmare is chaos. They're terrified of hiring someone and having it turn into a messy, unpredictable disaster. So when you walk them through how you research, how you think, how you iterate, and how you handle feedback, you're not just showing them steps, you're selling them that beautiful, beautiful feeling of certainty. You're making them feel safe.
Okay, mindset shift, check. Now, let's get into the practical stuff. The real, tangible actions you can take to build some serious leverage.
Okay, please get this idea out of your head that you need 20 different projects in your portfolio. You just don't. It's not about volume, it's about depth. Clients aren't just ticking boxes and counting projects. They are scanning, desperately searching for proof. Proof that you can actually think. That you can see a problem and follow it all the way through to a solution. And here's how you do it. This is a game changer. Let's say you have just one logo project. That's not one portfolio piece. Nope. It's at least 4. Watch this. Piece number 1 is the case study on the logo itself. Piece number 2 is a deep dive into the brand's color study. Piece 3, a whole breakdown of your typography choices. And for number 4, you create a bunch of social media mock-ups. Boom. Just like that, one project turned into 4, and you've shown off 4 completely different skills.
This next one, this is about flipping the script entirely. It's about going from being reactive to being proactive. So instead of sitting around waiting for someone to ask for your portfolio, you're going to lead with your insight. You're going to give them value first. We call this the reverse portfolio outreach. And it's so much simpler than you think. You find a business, you spot a clear design issue on their website, and you shoot them a message that says something like this. The key is, you're not asking for a job, you're not asking for anything. You're just giving them a little taste of how you think, you're providing value right up front. You see what just happened there? The entire power dynamic just flipped on its head. You're not the new designer begging for a chance anymore. Now, you're the expert. You're the one diagnosing a problem and offering a solution. And let me tell you, that kind of diagnosis, it creates instant authority. Okay, I can hear you thinking, but what if I have literally zero credibility? Well, you borrow it. It's that simple. You strategically team up with people and brands who already have that trust built in. Maybe you collaborate with a designer who's a few steps ahead of you, or you take a short-term gig at an agency. Suddenly, their reputable name is connected to yours. You could help out a founder at a cool new startup, or even volunteer for a nonprofit that everyone knows. And look, the key here isn't working for free. It's about what you get out of it. It's about getting that testimonial, that stamp of approval, that feature on their social media. You're essentially borrowing their reputation to kickstart your own.
All right, so let's recap. You've got the new mindset.
You're showing off your deep thinking, not just a bunch of projects. You're even borrowing credibility from established players. You've got proof. So, the big question is, how do we turn all this great prep work into actual paying clients? That's what this last section is all about. Connecting and, most importantly, converting.
I want you to focus on one number. Just one. That's it. Because right now you need one super clear, super specific, and kind of small service offering that makes it incredibly easy for a client to say yes.
I mean, think about it. Saying, I do graphic design is so vague, nobody knows what to do with that. It's unhireable. But saying, I redesign landing pages to get you more customers, that's a specific solution to a painful problem. You have to be precise, because clarity converts way, way faster than just listing a bunch of skills.
And here's another myth we need to bust. You don't need to have paying clients to get powerful testimonials. Not at all. Go ask that designer you collaborated with, or the person you did that practice project for. Ask them to write a sentence or two about what it was like working with you. A quote that says you communicate clearly and deliver on time, that's gold. That's social proof that makes a new client feel way less nervous about hiring you.
Okay, time for a little tough love here. For your first few clients, forget about content. Forget about social media posts. That stuff is a super slow burn. I can pretty much guarantee your first 10 clients are going to come from one place: direct, one-on-one, human conversations. So get in those DMs, send those emails, talk to actual people. The simple truth is designers who talk to more people get hired faster.
So, if you want this simple, powerful formula to just put all of this into action, here it is. Price like a beginner, act like a professional. That's it. The beginner price gets your foot in the door, but it's the professional attitude that gets you the referrals, and referrals are what will build your entire career.
And when I say act like a professional, what does that actually mean? It means using contracts every time. It means setting clear timelines and, actually sticking to them. It means having a real structured process for revisions, not just chaos. And when you're not sure, just over-communicate. This is how you build that feeling of certainty we've been talking about.
Phew! Okay, we have covered a ton of ground. But let's bring it all home. What's the real goal here? Why are we fighting so hard for these first few clients?
Well, I'll tell you what it's not about. It's not about getting rich overnight. It's not about making a huge pile of cash with your first project. In fact, right now, it's barely about the money at all. It's about one thing and one thing only: momentum. See, every single project, no matter how small, builds your skills. It sharpens your communication. And maybe most importantly, it builds your confidence. Momentum is that invisible force that's going to launch your entire career into orbit. So let's just say it one more time. You don't need a bigger portfolio. You need clarity. You need a little bit of courage. And you need to have conversations. Remember, every single designer you look up to, every single one of them, started with 0 clients. You have the blueprint now. The only question left is, what's your first move?